Okay, next question, managing debt. Now, why is managing debt so important? Managing debt is so important because depending on the amount of debt you have and the type of debt you have, this could be the make or break deal of becoming financially independent at some point. Now, is all debt, is all money that we borrow in life bad debt? Absolutely not. Debt has its place. So, for example, if you're going to become a dentist, and all of you, congratulations on that, have accomplished that, it's a great thing. But very often you need to incur a lot of debt. Mainly student loans is what I'm talking about. I work with dentists throughout the country. I work a lot with dental residents. I do a lot of lecturing at a number of hospitals in the New York area. And the single biggest concern that each resident has when they graduate is, how am I going to pay off these student loans? And some of them are graduating with $250,000, even $300,000 of student loans. It sounds kind of frightening, but what I tell them is, as bad as that sounds right now, and I know you can't afford to pay it right now, that is good debt. And the reason is because that's going to open up the opportunity for them, instead of maybe making $40,000 or $50,000 a year at some job, now perhaps they have a chance to make $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 or more because of that dental license. So student loans, good debt. Unfortunately for most people, you're not going to get much of a tax deduction out of it because the threshold there is very low for you to deduct that. Things like a mortgage. If you purchase a home that you could afford and the amount you're paying for it is reasonable, and you take a mortgage out on that house, that to me is good debt because you're investing in your home. Shelter, it's a basic need. It's not a want, it's a basic need that we need to fulfill. Plus the interest on that loan is going to be tax deductible. Up to $1.1 million of that mortgage debt is tax deductible. If you go out and buy yourself a second home, let's say a vacation home, is that absolutely necessary? Probably not. I mean, if you're at a point where you're already financially independent and can afford to do that, that's fine. But that to me would probably be an example of bad debt. If you buy a car that you really can't afford and you exceed the amount of debt that you really should have, that again is another example of bad debt. If you're using that credit card like it's something you never have to pay back and accumulating credit card debt month in and month out simply because you have the card and you want something and you buy it, clearly bad debt. Credit card debt to me is like the cancer in the medical profession. It could literally kill you. So we know what our wants are and we know what our needs are. The question is, what is the difference between the two? Well, your needs are your basic essentials, and we all need them to live, right? Food, shelter, perhaps a good education. Those are our basic needs. Our wants are the things, the materialistic things that we'd like to get because they make us feel good temporarily. But the truth of the matter is, we need to find a way to tell ourselves, is this something that I really need, or is it something I want? And then if you think, in fact, it is something that you need, it's something you can't live without, then you got to ask yourself, is there a less expensive way to purchase this? Is there a different way I could go about getting this thing that I need, at least in my head that I need? So knowing the difference between these are critically important. Analyzing your debt is something you need to do constantly. Right now we're at a point in our economy where interest rates are at an all-time low. I think it's about a 50-year low. If you have a mortgage, for example, and you took that mortgage out even 2 or 3 years ago, if you haven't considered refinancing that mortgage, you're making a mistake. Why? Because you're leaving money, you're giving extra money to the bank unnecessarily. If you have loans for your dental practice and you have not reevaluated the rate you're paying and what's offered right now, again, you're making a big mistake. I have a dentist right now in New York City. He's on the west side. He just took out a $1.8 million loan on his dental practice because he's expanding into another suite. 4% he got, a 4% rate. That's terrific, unheard of on a business loan. So there are opportunities out there. If you don't pay attention to each of these items, You're just leaving extra money on the table for someone else to profit from. So paying attention to your debt is critically important to achieving financial independence.